He is no longer in. He's no longer in the camp, and I believe now resides in Brazil.
Thank you.
Well, where's Guillermo now? Okay.
Well, let me say this. That you paid the fine, right?
Yes, sir.
And when does she have another fight bout coming up?
Her agent is here, but I believe that we cannot schedule, obviously, a fight without a license. But our hopes, and a confident hope, I should say, would be in end of June, early July, if the commission grants a request. So this would be in San Diego.
You were preparing just in case. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, preparing.
The promoter? Who's the promoter?
I suppose that's a fair word, sir. We understand that this is a fighter that's in the weight class. Yes,
Well, here's how I look at it. I know that times are tough. Times are tough all over, and they're even tougher for our fighters. Two things with me. I really don't really agree or sympathize when people do things to beat another fighter. It's really bad news. I just don't like it. I fought before, so I wouldn't like it. But the only thing I say, the reason why I started off saying things are tough and all that, she's paid her fine, and we're talking 6 months. How much did we give her? No, not 1 year.
The original was 1 year.
1 year, okay. And at least she came before us and fell on the sword. I'm always leery, and I have to be very honest because I'm a very honest person, that when attorneys sometimes twist people around and talk a lot, and the next thing you know, their person who they're representing looks bad. She took an oath to tell the truth, and I agree. So it's my recommendation, just me, and I have to hear from the other commissioners, is that to give her that 6 months. I will do that. Only reason is because, like I said, times are tough. Fighting is tough. It's a tough situation, period. But, she said she won't do it again, and she didn't make big excuses, so that's my position. That's my motion.
Chair, I just want to give a brief history real quick, if you don't mind.
Excuse me?
Can I give a brief history about Chris Cyborg? Because she has fought here in California before, and we have tested Chris before. She has come back negative before in the past. I believe she's fought here 3 times since I've been the executive officer, and she's come back negative the prior 2 times. This is the 3rd time she's fought here, and this is the first time that she has tested positive. I believe she's been tested in other states as well, and this is the first time in all the fights that she's ever tested positive for. Also, if we look at the history of the commission in the past, the commission has a history of reducing the suspensions to 6 months, and this is the first time that a fighter has actually come forward and accepted the responsibilities of what she's done.
That's important. That's very important. Dr. Lemon first, and then.
Well, I think, like many of the commission members, I'm admiring your approach. This is somewhat unique in this circumstance, and I appreciate you admitting your involvement and your responsibility in using this substance. But I have to point out that the use of performance-enhancing medications or drugs in this sport is unacceptably dangerous. It is one of the most dangerous things that we can allow, or that we see athletes doing. Intentionally or unintentionally, the opponent was put in undue danger at that match. And I also need to point out that our penalty of a 1-year suspension and $2,500 fine is, by comparison with other states, extremely mild penalty. It's almost a minimal penalty. Other states would fine much more in terms of money, which we cannot do, and we can only fine 1 year because of the way our licenses work. So my recommendation is not to reduce the penalty.
I tend to agree with Dr. Lemons. I think make it a bad practice when we give out a year suspension and then we reduce it to 6 months because someone is sincerely sorry. The reality is you are admitting something happened. You didn't know about it, but you took it in good faith. To me, that's not real ownership. I appreciate the fact you're here accepting that, hey, that's the decision, I'll live with it. I would prefer that, hey, you know what, I'm end product responsible. If I took it, I'm accountable for it. And basically, you're kind of there, but I don't see a real reason to reduce just because we have a good person here in front of us.
Commission? Yes. My motion didn't get a second.
If I could address some of those points, or is that opportunity passed?
I'll make a motion that we deny the reduction of sentence and remain the same as originally imposed.
Yes, second.
I'll second.
All for the motion? Say aye.
Aye.
Oh, you want to discuss? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I couldn't agree more with Dr. Lemon's position, and certainly, I'm sorry, I couldn't agree more with Dr. Lemon's position, and it's always difficult, I think, for a fighter who relies so much, many times, on what she eats, on what what time to get up, what time to go to bed, things of this matter that typically the rest of us don't do. Mr. Hernandez makes an excellent point in terms of, whether there's ownership or not. And I remember when I think Mr. Edwards first asked how did it happen, and I think probably all of you had that on your mind. Our statement was we're happy to share with that, but in so doing, we don't want to in any way diminish the fact that we're here to accept responsibility for this. I urge the commission to consider when you have the history, and of course I appreciate what Mr. Munoz said about the cannabis and that there was not relief granted. When you do have a fighter that brings so much to the sport and can continue to do so, and I hope the commission again doesn't underestimate the devastation of a 6-month suspension by itself, rather than a year, especially again on a 26-year-old fighter, that you could possibly consider all the totality of the circumstances, if you will, in the position she's taking, to see your way to allowing this very fine athlete to continue fighting.
Aye.
Aye.
I oppose. Much we're sorry, but that's the way.
If he's not one of your licensees, then there's nothing you can do about it.